Okay, this is my third attempt to record because I'm trying to do makeup while I talk and this makeup looks awful. But we're here anyway. Welcome to my channel. I talk about my mental health and also whatever I want. So if you're into hot takes and mental health, make sure you hit subscribe and like this video if and when you actually like it. This makeup is hideous. It just seemed like people get more views when they're doing their makeup while they talk. So I thought I would try it. And this is how it's going. But anywho, let's talk about Keemstar, who I don't typically talk about because he's an idiot. And he's intentionally an idiot. He wants to be an idiot. That's his brand. And you know, if that's how you want to be, that's how you want to be. So you do you, live your life. But people are coming up his behind because he's dating a 20-year-old. And that's the cause of discussion. I think the discussion is on the wrong thing. I do not care that he's dating a 20-year-old. That's not what I care about. Age gaps it's not age gaps that bother me. It's the situations around the age gaps that bother me. Let me tell you from the perspective of a 20-year-old girl, if I was in that situation, and here's what I think the situation was. Your best friend loves Keemstar, so you know who the hell he is. Okay, Keemstar is trying to pretend like this girl didn't know who he was. She knew who he was because her best friend is a super fan. And your friend is like, oh my God, let's go see Keemstar. You go. And y'all get to go backstage. Wouldn't you go backstage? I would go backstage. Are you kidding me? 100% I'm going backstage. And when I know it's FouseyTube and Keemstar, two friggin' idiots, I know I'm not going backstage just to be like, oh my gosh, I so enjoy your work. I know I'm going backstage to do some F shizzle. I know. Listen, I don't like the narrative that when you're 20, you're just a complete idiot. You're not a complete idiot. You are very naive, but you're not a complete idiot. And you're trying to have a good time. I was trying to have a good time when I was 20. I'm sure she's trying to have a good time, right? Now, hoping and assuming everything was consensual, FouseyTube probably hooked up with your friend, girl. You probably say, get it, girl. And you hook up with Keemstar. And Keemstar likes you enough that he's like, you know what? Let's keep dating. Would you say no? If I was in that situation, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no because, number one, when I was 20, I was really into older men. I wouldn't go... When I was 20, I would go up to 30. But if a rich celebrity over the age of 30 and that I found attractive enough wanted me, I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes. And part of why I loved the idea of being with an older man was because I really enjoyed the idea of still being protected but not having responsibility, but getting to see into adult life and this other side of life that I don't have access to because I'm 20 and broke. Without having the responsibilities. So I was so into that. So I understand the 20-year-old and I can see why she would be a part of this and why she would do this. I get it, totally. And what tended to happen when I was in these older relationships with older people, The healthiest ones were the ones where we were very explicit that this is not at all serious. Like, we are literally just hooking up on a regular basis. And that was as healthy as they could get. The ones where it was like, we're more than just hooking up, but I don't know how serious. You know, the ones that are just like, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend. I never felt like I was taken advantage of because of my young age, but I did feel like, oh, there's probably a reason why you're with someone my age. I don't know if that makes sense. So I didn't feel like they could pull wool over my eyes. But there were some things about these dudes that didn't bother me. But when I sat down and thought about, what if this guy dated someone his age? No, she wouldn't put up with this. Or she wouldn't be around him as much as I am. It's like, I just rewatched Scott Pilgrim, that movie. And in that movie, he's a 22-year-old guy dating a 17-year-old girl. And she just thinks everything is so cool about him. Like, oh my gosh, you're in a band. Oh my God, you don't live with your parents. Oh my God. But it's like the other 22-year-olds are like, you're in a band and like, you don't live with your parents, but you live in a crappy apartment with a roommate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's things where people who are your age mates would know, bruh, this is not a good standard of living for your age. But me being younger, it's better than my standard of living, so I'm excited about it. Does that make sense? So I felt and I was understanding, this is kind of at play. This is kind of at play here. But the thing about it was, when I was 20, I wasn't with famous rich guys, okay? If I was with a famous rich guy, I'm not passing that up. That just sounds like so much fun. So anyway, I'm just assuming and hoping that everything is kosher. When it comes to a guy like, what's his face? When it comes to a guy like Keemstar, we don't know, because he's just usually a douche all around. So that's strike number one. Like, that's concern number one. People are concerned about that part, okay? Now, the other part of it that we're concerned about, that I think people need to discuss, rather than infantilizing the young woman, you know, I've heard people even refer to her as a child, or almost a child. She's not a child, okay? She's 20, but she's not old enough to drink. That is awkward. She's not old enough to, there's things in life that she's still not old enough for. And, you know, she doesn't have kids. She's never been married. So, like, obviously there's a lot of life experience that she's naive to. So we find that awkward. But I can understand that this could be a fun experience for her. But then it's like, well, it's with Keemstar. What does that mean? But here's the thing that people are not talking about that I really wish they would. And Rachel, I watched Rachel Oates' video on it, and I think she's spot on. The way he introduced her to the world was incredibly disrespectful. And he's doing it because he knows it's disrespectful. So when he talked about his girlfriend on that podcast, he knew saying her age would make for good podcast. He knew that the fact they met at a fan meetup, inappropriate and will make for great controversy. He knew sending her but to his friend. Disrespectful. It makes for great controversy. Keemstar knows these things. And I hope people know that he knows these things. Keemstar knows exactly what he's doing. He knows. He knows exactly what's wrong with it. He knows everything, y'all. And that's precisely why he said it and let it be known. You guys, I cannot do makeup. I cannot do makeup, girl. He's disgusting to me. It's disgusting. They're talking about the girl like she's a horse pony. You know what I mean? Check out the teeth on this baby. Referring to her as, fresh cheeks, because she's young, so they're literally fresher. Just the way they were discussing her on that podcast was really disrespectful. I don't know how the young lady responded. I don't know if she's like, haha, that's funny, or if she actually feels like that was so gross. I don't appreciate that. I don't know how she responded. And I think it's safer for her to just not, if I was in a situation, I would not publicly speak on it until after I left the relationship. But this is part of the reason why people are really iffy about this relationship. Because I just spent 7 minutes talking about how I, as a 20-year-old, would get into a relationship with somebody like this. And how I would, but I'd never done it with people who are rich and famous. There is a problem when you are using your fans and people who are fan adjacent as your personal Tinder. That is an exploitation of your position, in my opinion. And he says, oh, she's not a fan. He says that because he knows he's exploiting his position. And he's just using some BS excuse. Like, her best friend is a super fan, bruh. She is a fan. She knows of you. She knows what you do. She knows who you are. She knows what a big deal it is for her to be with you. She knows, bruh. You're not dating an idiot. She knows. And the thing about people like Keemstar and FouseyTube is the same problem that rock and roll had and probably still has. Hip hop has this problem. We see it in hip hop now, but it used to be like a huge issue in rock and roll in like the 70s and 80s, was that female conquest was not a happenstance of the career. It is a reward of the career. It is a perk of the career. So you have a fan meetup and you take two of the attendees backstage and you smash. That didn't just happen by chance. You didn't just see them and just Cupid's arrow struck you. Bruh. This is something you regularly do. This is something you expect to do. And this is something you feel entitled to because you think that's just part of the job. And this is why these rock and roll dudes, back then when women started being like, you know what? I really just liked his music. I was not interested in being sexual with him, and I was really disgusted when he assumed I wanted to suck his D. That really offended me, and I think that's sexual harassment, that he kept trying to make me suck his D, and I left from the Backstage. And when women started coming out, the artists would be like, oh my God, whatever. R. Kelly did this. When people started to be like, R. Kelly, you're misbehaving, he really felt entitled. He really felt like, no. These were fans. They were coming to me. Yes, they're coming to you because they idolize you. You make music that they love. That's not a sexual invite. T.I. and Tiny, same with you. Just because you're rich and famous doesn't mean people are trying to get in your pants. And there's a level of intimidation that can come depending on what is the situation, who is there, right? Depending on how the situation is, somebody could feel like it would be a worse option to say no and hold their autonomy than it would be to just give in. And Keemstar is trying to pretend like he doesn't know that that's a thing. And he's trying to pretend like he doesn't know that it's a common thing. He's pretending because he does know. And he knows the more he doubles down on it, the more views for him. He makes his rounds. Every now and then he does something that, I'm not saying he goes out of his way to be dumb. He just is dumb. And he will continue to be dumb because he found a way to make a living and career out of it. And unfortunately for men, it is, I don't know what it is about dudes that they're not big on correcting each other. Like, when I'm with successful women, I see a lot of correction, like women trying to correct other women. But when it comes to dudes, I see a lot of, well, that's just what he wants to do. Whatever, not my problem, whatever, dude's gonna do what he's gonna do. That's what I just noticed from men and how they interact with each other in their own circles. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why. But this is why dudes like Keemstar just keep being how they are. Like, even his friend was like, on the show, was like, bro, this is kind of messed up. Right? But also, he didn't take it that seriously. You know what I mean? And when I've spoken to men about this and I ask them, like, why are y'all like that? Like, why do y'all don't care when your dude is doing something that is wrong? They'll be like, oh no, we say something. We tell him that it's wrong. I'm like, yeah, y'all tell him that it's wrong. But you also know that dude's not going to listen to you, and you don't really care. Like, you're not going to really sit here and tell me that dudes are reacting the same way women are reacting to when people behave badly. I don't know. That's just what I think. This is really bad. I don't know how to do makeup. I'm going to put highlighter. I'm going to put the wrong highlighter. I'm going to put a highlighter that does not work with my skin tone. Because why not? Whatever. Okay. I guess my body highlights right under my eye. I'll put it under my eye. I know only 20 people are gonna watch this, so maybe I should upload it on the off chance I become a meme and it drives traffic to my channel. Who knows? I'm contemplating if I should upload this video. Moral of the story is, when it comes to Keemstar, he knows exactly what he's doing. I personally don't condemn him just solely off the basis that he's dating a 20-year-old. I condemn him because he's dating her off of the wrong premises and he knows it. And he's bragging about it. It's annoying. Isn't it annoying, those people who are like, you're just jealous because you couldn't do it? You know what I mean? Like Donald Trump. Like, oh, you're just jealous that I make fun of people with disabilities because you can't do it and you want to. I was like, it's annoying. The other thing that's annoying is when they're like, you're just virtue signaling, like you're so perfect. That's another tactic that they use. It's like, no, we're not claiming to be perfect. We're claiming to not be as abhorrent as you are. Like, we think what you're doing is abhorrent. And I wouldn't have, honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with what Keemstar is doing if he would just be honest. But we sense the dishonesty, and that's why we're like, it's probably a manipulative relationship. It began on very manipulative, potentially manipulative pretenses. The way you're talking about her is very disrespectful. You're treating her like an object, like a trophy. So, I mean, you're also like manipulative in your persona online. So we really want to be surprised if that's how your relationship also is. So we're just calling you out on this bad behavior. And the way he responds tells you everything that, in my opinion, that you need to know. And literally, it's everything that you need to know, because like, we don't have the right to go in his, you know, in his house and like investigate and all this stuff. We don't have the right for that. All we have is how he responds to what he says. And then we have our opinions about him. And then we speak up and like let people know, hey, just because this one guy's doing it doesn't mean like people think it's acceptable. So I really, the fact that he's even replying and whining and being like, it's not fair and you're ugly. Those are only ugly people who don't like what I'm doing. He's just doing that to egg it on. So don't get too emotional about it, guys. I guess that's the moral of this video. Don't get too heaped up and emotional about it. Because he knows what he's doing and he doesn't care. And the girl that he's with, just the mere fact that she's openly in a relationship with him, at least for now, she doesn't care. She might wake up one day in a few years, like Tana Mojo, and be like, holy crap. She might wake up one day and be like, holy crap. But I don't know. None of us know. The one thing we do know is Keemstar won't change his behavior. And he's going to keep trying to trigger people on the internet and do things that are morally reprehensible. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed vibing with me, hit subscribe. I don't like this video. I don't like this video. I'm posting this as an experiment. So until next time, much love, much luck. Peace out.